All right, so now that we can update a user, we can create new users, we can find users and whatnot. Let's also allow the capability of unregistering, right? Of removing this user from the model. Okay. So to do that, let's go back to our client and let's add one more button. Right. So let's add a button here, and we'll call it a delete user, and we'll pass a user object, and this will be unregister. We'll change the color from success to danger, since we are removing ourselves. There it is, unregister, right? And if we click on unregister in the controller side, let's put here the event handler at the top, model dot what do we call it? Delete user. Delete user. There it is, and we're going to implement it down here. Delete user. And here's the user that we want to remove, right? And the user service is going to be something like this: user service dot delete user. And the only thing that the service needs is the ID of the user that we want to remove. So we're going to pass in the ID of the user. Okay. And what should happen after we delete the user? Right. This is going to go out to server. Right, the server is going to come back with a promise saying it was okay or not, right? If it is okay, what do we want to do? What should happen? Should we stay in the profile? Because currently we're in the profile. We shouldn't stay in the profile of someone who doesn't exist anymore, right? So we should navigate away maybe to the login page, right? So that somebody else could log in. Make sense? Or register or whatnot, okay? So what we could do here, right, is here's the promise that comes back from the service, yes? And if it's successful, what we want to be able to do, we want to navigate away, and maybe we could do something like $location. We could go to the login page, right? Or we could go home to the home page, whatever, right? Maybe slash, go to the home page. Okay. Do we have the location? Yes, we do have location. If instead something went wrong, right, and we were not able to remove it, we'll do a model.error, unable to unregister you. Okay, we try to unregister somebody who doesn't exist. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's implement this on the client service. Let's go to client service, right? It's a delete user. Okay, and we're going to implement it right here, function delete user, and here's the user ID. Right, we're going to use the same exact URL. Right, same exact URL, but this time we're going to send a delete message, correct? And the delete message is right here. Let's copy that. And instead of a put, it's going to be a delete, and we're not going to pass a user object. Right, it's all the information we need is already embedded in the URL. Okay, and it's going to go out to the server. The server is going to respond, right, with some status information, and we're going to unwrap that and send it over to the controller. Make sense? If we refresh this and we try to unregister us, notice that we get an error saying that there is no such delete on the server side, right? So yes, we were able to send the request, but there's nobody on the server listening for this request, right? So let's actually implement that. Let's go on the server, right? Hopefully you're identifying a pattern here, right? A cadence, right? So you start the client, you go to the controller, you go to this client service, right? You go to the server service, and then you respond back to the client service, respond back to the controller, and then respond back to the template. Yes? Right? It goes and then it comes back. Right? So hopefully you can get into this groove, right? Into this cadence. All right, so let's implement this. So this is going to be a delete. And that is the URL we're looking for, right? With the user ID at the end. And this is going to be a delete user. And so this is going to again, request response is going to retrieve the user ID. That's the only thing we need. Right, here's the user ID we want to splice out. So var user ID is a user ID, and we want to splice it out. And I believe we already have that implemented on the client, or maybe not. I don't think we ever implemented it on the client side. So let's implement it real quick here. Let's use a for loop here, which is going to find it. Okay, let's see. It's looking for users that match the user ID. If we find it, what are we going to do? We're going to splice it out. Okay. So which one do we splice out? The one at location U. Okay, that's where we found it. Okay, so we're going to do users dot splice at location U, and we want to splice 1. Right. So we're going to remove that one, and we're going to send the status 200. We were able to splice it out. Or if you asked us to splice to remove a user that didn't exist, we're going to respond with a 404. Okay? All right. So let's restart the server. Let's log in again as Alice, and we're going to unregister, and it navigates back to the home page. Let's verify that we can't log in as Alice anymore. So we log in and go back to Alice. Alice. The user doesn't exist anymore. Everybody okay? We were able to remove it. Awesome. Now let's see. I think we're pretty much done with all the CRUD operations for the user, right? What we would like to be able to do is get you started on the website part, which looks very, very similar to this. In particular, we want to focus on the relationship between one user and various websites.